second-year safety Calvin Pryor, who played for Rex Ryan last season, wasn't a very big fan of Rex doing his Tuesday press conference in a Clemson helmet, tweeting the following: "The guy does anything for attention." When asked what he thought of the tweet, Rex had this to say.
He's right. Because what else am I going to do? Just stand up here or whatever? Yep. I got attention, but I got it in the right spot. You know, he's mad because Clemson put it on Louisville again this year.
Stephen A., what does this say about Rex?
Well, what he says, it says. He loves attention, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's not ideal for a head coach. There's no question about that. But if it works for him, it works for him. You know, in fairness to Rex Ryan, let's not be hypocritical here. None of us had a problem with Rex Ryan's personality when Rex Ryan was a member of the New York Jets his first 2 years, when he guided them to back-to-back AFC championship games by guaranteeing that he would do at least that once he arrived as coach. The problem is 4 years followed: an 8-8 season, a 6-10 season, an 8-8 season, and then the abysmal 4-12 season where Rex Ryan admitted to us to our face that he deserved to be fired. So when you look at it from that perspective, and then you look at some of the troubles that they've had this year, they're on the outside looking in right now. They're behind the Jets and the New England Patriots in the division. You know, you got Cincinnati and Indianapolis and Denver that are going to win their divisions. And then you've got the Oakland Raiders that are going to be relevant in the playoff picture, the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So, you know, Buffalo's on the outside looking in. He walked in there guaranteeing some things again. I think the problem with Rex Ryan is that Rex Ryan is coming across as an individual that uses headlines to disguise his ineptitude. And that's what this comes down to. Again, when he's winning, you can never say that about him. I definitely think he's a brilliant defensive mind, but their defense right now ranks 16th overall. They rank 24th against the pass. That's not numbers that we've come to know as being associated with Rex Ryan. And so, you know, you understand it. You understand it's a part of his personality. You want to encourage people to be themselves, Skip, but at the same time, somewhere along the way, you've got to get the job done. And when you look at Rex Ryan, he's created a buzz and interest in the Buffalo Bills. They clearly made the right choice with picking Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback. There's no doubt about that. But this defense should be better than what they have been. And one would argue their record should be better than what it is. And one would also argue that this team, your pick to be a wild card team in these playoffs this season, is on the outside looking in, and that's all problematic. So if you're going to bring attention to yourself, there's nothing wrong with that, Rex Ryan. But you need to bring the results first. Otherwise, all you are is a sideshow. And I'm not calling him that because I respect him, but I'm just letting him know how the world is looking at him because of his results or lack thereof.
Yep. I did pick Rex's team to win a wild card this year, and I do love me some Rex in general. But I got to tell you, I did not love him wearing that Clemson helmet. I hear what you're saying. Are you trying to disguise your ineptitude? Are you trying to distract attention off the poor coaching job you're doing? Is that what's happening here? I also think, and remember I asked Rex to his face about this when we were at Bills camp, are you sometimes guilty of making it more about you than about your team? Is it productive showmanship on your part to create buzz around the Buffalo area, or is it just flat-out egomania on your part? Have you gone over the edge into Rex Ryan, superstar coach, even though you don't have the credentials to back it up? You're certainly one of the most recognizable coaches in the National Football League. You're certainly one of the most talked about coaches. Why is that? Because you'll wear a Clemson helmet to a press conference. So was wearing that Clemson helmet about Rex, or was it about his son Seth, who's a redshirt sophomore, a walk-on who made the team and has actually caught 2 balls this year for 14 yards. He stands 6 feet tall and weighs 175 pounds, does Seth Ryan. Was wearing the Clemson helmet a tribute to his son who made the team as a walk-on, or was it about Rex? To me, it was more about Rex, getting a laugh. You know, he knows he's going to get maybe a lead item on SportsCenter. I don't know. You know, he's going to get a lot of attention off wearing that helmet and keeping it on, instead of just paying tribute to Clemson's achievement so far this year. Just bringing up the fact I'm proud of my kid. He walked on. He made a team that right now is the best team in America, and I'm proud of him. You could just throw that in there at the end of the press conference. Everybody'd say, thank you very much, great. That would work. This doesn't work for me. This is more about Rex and about a week in which he knows he's going to get a lot of attention because he's returning to the Jets. Is he trying to take some pressure off his team versus the Jets? I don't know. I don't know. I just think in the end, it's what I asked Rex to his face about. Is it more about you than about your players? And I think at some points in that locker room, they're saying, what about us? Are we stars or are we not stars? Is it all about our star head coach, the showman that is Rex Ryan? That's how I take that one. So I didn't like this one, Stephen A. I just thought it was crossing the line.
I didn't think it was crossing the line, but I didn't like it because I think it's unnecessary. And more importantly than unnecessary, I think it's not the priority. You see, I think the priority should be having your team ready to rumble. I think if Rex wants to bring attention to himself, Rex could bring attention to himself by rolling up at a press conference and announcing we're going to come at it, by guaranteeing a win, by telling you we don't give a damn who this team is, we're going to go for it. He can bring attention to himself that way. You know, there are ways to do it in a fashion that, although it might be unadvisable in some people's eyes, you can understand it because if you're a Rough Rider, that's how you want people to know you're coming at your business. It's just that simple. And so there's no harm in that. And I can also understand and appreciate it because what he wants is he wants the world watching his team and he wants the world watching him. It interests him. It ignites him. It sparks him, supposedly.
Yep.
The problem is that you have 4 years in which all of that bluster amounted to absolutely nothing.
Yep.
4 consecutive years as the head coach that you were out. You were out of the playoffs looking in. And by the way, speaking about that, maybe we need to think about something here, whether it's nepotism, favoritism, or whatever the case may be, because how do you have, in the last 4 years of your career, of your coaching career in New York, you've got 2 8-8 seasons, sandwiching 1 6-10 season, and then ending your tenure on a 4-12 record. And within 2 weeks, before you have a chance virtually to pass gas, you literally land a $5 million a year contract. I mean, him and Andy Reid, who I love. You know how I feel about Andy Reid.
Yeah.
But I just find it amazing that guys, so many of these guys, the Pep Hamiltons and others of the world can't even get a chance.
Yeah.
But you got guys who were losing, who were on the outside looking in, who were regressing in terms of their level of productivity as a coach. And they literally leave a job. And before they have an opportunity to pick up the phone and call their family to inform them that they're unemployed, they already got another job, and it's giving them $5 million a year.
No,
I find that very interesting.
I do too. Now, again, back to Pep Hamilton, he got scapegoated. That was as unfair a firing as I've ever seen, and it really set him back in his, his path up to become a head coach. God bless him. But back to Rex. Look, the Bills. Okay, you're hiring, we all acknowledge, one of the best defensive minds, if not the best defensive mind in pro football. So you got that going for you, and you like the showmanship, you like the buzz he creates in an area that has had no buzz of late. And then you like the mind games he plays with opponents, because now he's playing one with the Jets. He's saying, you know what, I don't even care about the Jets game. I have circled only the Patriots game at Foxborough down the road. You know, that's the only one I care about. Well, is that going to work? A little gamesmanship? I don't know. But that's what people like Rex for.
I agree.
I also
There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
If the coaching thing doesn't work out, he certainly has a future in PR. I mean, he can manipulate the media better than anybody and stay relevant, and maybe that's helped him a little bit, to your point. I know the coaching pedigree and what a great defensive mind, but staying relevant.
I think that's worn out. I think that years ago it was far more effective when he was winning football games. Now it doesn't work on us because we're able to turn around and look at your team and say, wait a minute, this ain't what you said it was going to be. It wasn't that way for the last 4 years when you were with the New York Jets. You came to Buffalo, you talked about the talent that you have and how confident you were. And not only that, you don't have the problem you had in New York with Geno Smith or Mark Sanchez before him as your quarterback. Now Tyrod Taylor actually looks impressive. You look at his numbers. I mean, Skip the Deuce completing about 70% of his passes.
Love him.
The turnovers. I mean, he's getting the job done. Yeah. So really, if that's the case, then what's your problem, Rex Ryan? Because your offense isn't too shabby. Your defense is the problem, and that is supposed to be where your level of expertise lies. It's the very reason you got a head coaching job. But the defense right now is suspect. So I think it's worn thin with a lot of us. We look at Rex Ryan. I mean, what's not?
But
You got to respect
we're talking about him. We're talking about him more than Belichick, Marvin Lewis, Ron Rivera, the undefeated coaches. So he is winning in that sense.
Well, you can say he's winning, or is he embarrassing himself, Molly, because he's got us talking about him, because he's bringing attention to himself for all the wrong reasons. Is that your definition of winning? It ain't mine.
No, I mean in terms of manipulating the media and the PR aspect, but I know what you mean. From the football perspective, yes, more clearly more impressive. It's all about winning.
So in the end, the question is, if Rex fails in Buffalo, will he wind up in the media business? Will he be sitting on the first desk at some point? I don't know.
Listen,
I think so.
I'd hire him for a television job. But the point is that unlike other folks who may have elected to be in this business, in a roundabout way, he's forced to, if that happens, because it would be entirely premature. This is only his second head coaching job. I look at a guy like Brian Billick, Skip Bayless. I don't understand for the life of me. He coached 9 years. He's a Super Bowl champion. And somehow, some way, he hasn't gotten a head coaching job. But you got the Rex Ryans and Andy Reids of the world, who I respect, by the way. But they never won a Super Bowl, and his job offers come. I mean, it's about who you know. I mean, that clearly appears to be the case. And I'm not saying I don't know Brian Billick from a can of beans. I'm just saying that I see him and I see the words Super Bowl champion. But somehow, some way, he's an analyst in television, and Rex Ryan is coaching and bringing attention to himself doing press conferences. I have something wrong with that picture. I want winners.
I think maybe Brian Billick might have just decided this is a lot easier to analyze games than to actually have to coach games.
Right?
Hey, John Gruden's the same way. Why should John Gruden leave Monday Night Football? He's probably getting paid just as much money for doing less work because it ain't the same as coaching the team. But guess what? He gets to make that choice because he's a Super Bowl champion. Rex Ryan ain't even been in the Super Bowl yet. What's the problem with that?
Agreed.
Fair enough. And we will leave it there, because guess what's coming up next? Rapper Jeezy is in the house, and I love it. So much to get into with him. NFL, NBA, social issues. His new album drops Friday. We'll talk to him in just a bit. Good morning.
Morning.
How are we doing?
Welcome.
What's going on?
How are you? Good to see you.
Good, look.